Christina Aguilera is feeling beautiful, powerful, and completely at home in her own skin, and her recent appearance in Paris made that message impossible to miss. 45, the pop icon continues to redefine what confidence looks like, not by chasing trends or trying to fit into anyone else's expectations, but by standing firmly in her own evolution. When she shared a series of images from her Paris trip on Instagram, it wasn't just another celebrity fashion post. It was a statement, layered with history, self-assurance, and a quiet sense of triumph that only comes from someone who has lived many lives in the public eye and emerged still standing. In the images, Aguilera posed shirtless, wearing nothing but an extraordinary chopard necklace from the brand's haute joaillerie collection. The necklace itself was a work of art, crafted in 18K yellow and white gold and set with more than 50 carats of diamonds. At its center was a striking yellow radiant cut diamond weighing an impressive 20.09 carats, a stone so rare and luminous that it felt less like an accessory and more like a centerpiece meant to command attention. The jewelry wasn't just decorative, it became the focal point of the entire look, symbolizing luxury, craftsmanship, and bold self-expression. Aguilera's pose was deliberate and controlled. She covered her chest with her hands, revealing just enough to convey sensuality without crossing into excess. It was a masterclass in restraint, proving that confidence doesn't always need to shout to be heard. Her cleavage was visible, but the overall effect felt more editorial than provocative, more high fashion than shock value. She allowed the necklace to do most of the talking, framing it with her body in a way that felt intentional and self-aware. This wasn't about seeking approval or stirring controversy, it was about ownership. Completing the look was a dramatic taffeta-tiered skirt that added volume, texture, and a sense of theatrical elegance. Contrast between the bare skin above and the structured, flowing fabric below created a striking visual balance. Her blonde hair was worn down in soft waves, adding a touch of classic glamour that softened the boldness of the jewelry and grounded the entire ensemble. It was a reminder that Aguilera has always known how to blend extremes, softness and strength, vulnerability and command, into a single image. For longtime fans, this moment felt like a natural extension of Christina Aguilera's journey rather than a sudden reinvention. From the beginning of her career, she has been vocal about autonomy, self-expression, and refusing to be boxed in. In the late 1990s, she burst onto the scene as a teen pop sensation, but even then, there were signs that she was never content with being one-dimensional. As her career evolved, so did her image, often sparking debate and sometimes backlash, especially when she chose to express her sexuality on her own terms. Yet through every era, one thing remained consistent: Aguilera's refusal to apologize for being herself. Her Paris photos felt particularly meaningful because of the setting. Paris, long considered the capital of fashion and art, carries with it a sense of history and prestige. By choosing to debut this look there, Aguilera aligned herself with a tradition of fearless creativity and high artistry. The city has always celebrated individuals who dare to be different, who use style as a form of expression rather than conformity. In that sense, the backdrop couldn't have been more fitting. In other photos from the same trip, Aguilera showcased a completely different side of her fashion sensibility. She was seen wearing a leather shirt dress paired with a matching belt, creating a silhouette that was both structured and commanding. The look was polished yet edgy, signaling confidence without relying on overt glamour. She accessorized with an embellished bag that added texture and detail, subtly elevating the outfit without overpowering it. This version of Aguilera felt less ethereal and more grounded, a reminder of her versatility and her ability to shift seamlessly between styles. To complete the transformation, she switched up her hairstyle, opting for a sharp, shoulder-length bob. The cut framed her face and gave her a more modern, fashion-forward edge, contrasting beautifully with the softer waves seen in the necklace photos. The bob conveyed authority and sophistication, reinforcing the idea that Aguilera isn't tied to one aesthetic or identity. She moves between them effortlessly, choosing what suits her mood, her message, and her moment. What makes these images resonate beyond their visual appeal is the broader context of Aguilera's career and personal growth. For decades, she has existed under intense scrutiny. Her body, her voice, her choices, and her evolution have all been dissected by critics and fans alike. In an industry that often pressures women to maintain a narrow definition of youth and desirability, Aguilera's continued confidence feels quietly radical. She isn't chasing her past or trying to recreate a younger version of herself. Instead, she's embracing where she is now with all the wisdom, experience, and resilience that come with it. There is also something deeply intentional about how she presents her body at this stage in her life. Rather than catering to the male gaze or industry expectations, her poses and styling feel self-directed. They communicate comfort rather than performance, ownership rather than validation. The way she covers herself while still revealing vulnerability suggests a woman fully aware of her power and unafraid to wield it on her own terms. It's sensual, yes, but it's also controlled, thoughtful, and self-possessed. Aguilera's relationship with fashion has always been intertwined with her music and personal narrative. From the bold, provocative looks of her early 2000s era to the more refined, experimental style she has embraced in recent years, clothing has served as another language through which she tells her story. In Paris, that language felt especially fluent. The chopard necklace, with its extraordinary craftsmanship and weight, symbolized luxury and permanence, qualities that mirror Aguilera's place in pop culture. She is no longer proving herself, she is simply existing in her legacy. Fans were quick to react to the images, flooding social media with praise and admiration. Many applauded her confidence and celebrated her willingness to defy ageist expectations. Others highlighted how refreshing it was to see a woman in her 40s presented as glamorous, sensual, and unapologetically bold without being framed as a novelty. Aguilera's post didn't rely on captions heavy with explanation or justification. The images stood on their own, conveying their message without words. The heart of it all is the sense that Christina Aguilera is deeply comfortable with who she is now. There is no sense of chasing relevance or clinging to past success. Instead, there is a calm assurance that comes from knowing one's worth. Her Paris fashion moment wasn't about shocking the audience or grabbing headlines, even though it inevitably did. It was about expression, artistry, and presence. Contrast between the shirtless, jewelry-forward look and the structured leather ensemble also underscored her multidimensionality. Aguilera is not one thing, and she has never tried to be. She can be soft and commanding, playful and serious, glamorous and grounded, all within the same trip, the same photo series, the same version of herself. That fluidity is part of what has allowed her to remain relevant across generations. In an industry where women are often encouraged to fade quietly into the background as they age, Aguilera's continued visibility feels empowering. She isn't asking permission to take up space. She's simply doing it with diamonds, leather, confidence, and intention. Paris images serve as a reminder that beauty doesn't diminish with time, it evolves. And for someone like Christina Aguilera, evolution has always been the point. Ultimately, her Paris post wasn't just about fashion or jewelry. It was about presence. It was about a woman who has lived under the spotlight for most of her life, choosing how she wants to be seen now. It was about control, artistry, and self-love. And in a world that often tries to define women by age, expectations, or past versions of themselves, Aguilera's message came through clearly and unapologetically. She feels beautiful, she knows it, and she doesn't need anyone else to confirm it.